This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
Hey, that's happened to Stevenson.
Right, so we're going to roll the dice now, and we're going to see whether we get Jim or Nicole. So who are we getting today?
You're getting Jim. Unfortunately,
sorry guys. Jesus, Jim, for God's sake. Right, Jim, are you going to tell us about G4 claims?
Absolutely. Right, G4 claims specialise in non-fault accidents. If you have a non-fault accident, contact G4 claims at 01698 767 172. We'll supply you with a replacement vehicle. Get your car repaired. Don't pay your policy excess. You don't have to claim your insurance. Even if the car's a total loss, you still get a vehicle. Even some are feeling generous today. I'm going to pay your commission if you call us today if you have a non-fault accident. 01698 767 172.
There we go, so.
There you go.
Not at fault claims.
Not at fault claims.
Fault claims.
not at fault claims.
Not at fault claims.
It's easy.
What are you doing with that stuff? Well, that's putting me right after.
There you go, Jim. Hey, Jim, thanks very much for that information about G4 claims. But the only reason I want you on the show is so that we can get one of their fucking jokes off you. Are you going to tell us one of their jokes?
Right, okay, I'll give you a treat today, right?
Right,
I was having problems with my WhatsApp on my phone, right?
Right.
So I downloaded this thing called Bugs Bunny.
Right.
So it's actually called WhatsApp Doc.
Oh. At least we'll not need to censor that one, Jim. Right, now let's introduce a man who is a player, was a Falkirk legend and played for both his boyhood heroes Hibs and Celtic. As a manager, he twice won the First Division with Falkirk, as well as a successful stint at Hibs and Livingston, and went on to win the Manager of the Year after winning the Scottish Cup with Inverness, Caledonian Thistle. It's John Yogi Hughes. How you doing, Yogi? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing great.
I like your
Living
glasses.
life. I'm living in
I like your
life.
glasses. They're fancy glasses, aren't they?
That's it. I've not put mine on.
They're not my glasses. They're not mine. They're a boy with
Got one.
Giorgio Armani.
You can't hide that, John. Can't hide that, mate. How have you been? How's lockdown been, mate? How have you been off through this?
I'm alright, honestly, because I just do my own stuff. I'm right into doing the gym. I've got my wee gym out the back. I'm right into cycling. I cycle with John Collin. So I'm away. We're away for a couple of hours. And I just keep myself fit, ticking over. But it is hard. You miss the football, don't you?
Oh, big time, mate.
And
Big time.
everything that's just happened in the last couple of weeks in terms of the Aberdeen boys and the Celtic scenario. It feels like Celtic kind of get started, although they had a great result last night. But we just want to get it going and get in the swing of it, and because that's it. That's what gives us all our talking points.
Exactly, mate. I was missing the football right up until Sunday there when Rangers went to Livingston. I wish it was cancelled again, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, do you want to know something? I was watching the game, and I've been at Livingston, and I'm in Livingston. I was the manager there, and I think they're doing absolutely different class. But for the sake of football, I wanted Rangers to score because I thought their performance was absolutely different class in terms of and you have to be honest, in terms of keeping the ball, putting the pressure on, and all they struggled to do was put the ball in the back of the net. But a real good performance. Then, when they don't do that, rightly so, all the credit has to go to Livingston for, defending the way they defended and took someone out of the game.
Aye. John, that's interesting, right? See, you're saying that, right? So say you're a manager in an SPFL club this weekend, right, and you're playing Rangers. Is that exactly the way you would set up to play?
No, definitely no, it's no. But see, sometimes, honestly, when you play the Old Firm, you set up different, but it turns into like that because they're constantly at you, everyone, and before you know it, you cannot get out. many a time when I go and play the Old Firm, I just go and have a right go and try and play, take the game to them, and all the work that we done on the training pitch, and let them try and deal with us. But other times you have to be resolute in your defending, and it goes like that. And the longer the game goes, you get deeper and deeper and deeper. And when the game's finished, the only ones that you're looking at is Livingston. The way they defended, the big boy Guthrie, centre half, rightly so, got man of the match. Right. But I go back and I listen to Boydie after the game, and I had to turn him off because Boydie's having a right go, and I can understand him, but I'm saying you're missing the point here, because the Rangers' performance was magnificent. They played the whole game in Livingston's half, and you know how difficult it is. Celtic have went there and got beat. It's very, very difficult, but I thought the performance was really good without scoring a goal.
That kind of makes me feel a bit more positive now, actually. I might go and watch a game back now. Well, we were fucking brilliant there, man.
I've got to be honest with you, John. I disagree. I think Rangers are just shite, mate.
No, well, I can understand with that strip on why you're coming like that, but I'm only talking for total football. For the boy John McLaughlin and goals, playing out the back, getting right at them. I was looking at wee Holty making his debut for Livingston, and he hardly touched the ball because he's doing that much chasing, and Rangers passing the ball and interplay and playing between the lines. It was absolutely magnificent, really good, because that's not an easy place to go. It's not an easy place, and I thought Rangers dominated the game from start to finish without putting the ball in the back of the net.
Listen, you don't need to pander to these two, John. You can say what you really think.
But I'll tell you another thing. It's the exact same when you go and watch Celtic as well. Celtic, when they're at it, they're the exact same. The total football, they get at you, get after you, they get at it. They go and press you, they take the ball off you. When you hit, you can play out. So it's very, very close, but it's nice to see. I'm just hoping that once again Celtic get back into the rhythm as they did last night, and it's all to play for.
Fingers crossed, man.
Definitely.
What was the last job you applied for?
Last job I applied for, I actually had a job. I had an interview about two months ago now, over in Scandinavia. I thought I had the job, very, very close to getting it, but it never materialised. It was down to the last two, and the other guy got it. So that's the way it goes.
I love hearing about stuff like that. It's like, how do you know these jobs are up for grabs? Are you in a wee database or something like that? And
No, I don't even deal with an agent now. My agent, I had Paul McMurdo when in my early career, then I moved on to Raymond Sparks. Over the last, since I left Inverness, I've not really got an agent. So it's just ducking and diving, word of mouth, and all your contacts to say, listen, there might be something happening over there. So it's like when you're in the management game, you're talking to that many agents and you get to know them, you become friends with them. So it's all these guys that try to do your turn.
It's very difficult.
It's very difficult to get back in. It's something that I'm looking to do. When I left Inverness for the first couple of years, I was determined to take a couple of years off. The kids were growing up, and the wife's parents, the two of them were dementia in the nursing home. So I could see the pressure on her. I was away from home, and I said, right, once I'm finished here, I'm coming back. I'm going to take a year to 2 years off. And once that happens, you start enjoying yourself, playing all the golf, cycling, doing all the stuff that you want to do. But I always promised myself, I always wanted to see my kids growing up. Now, that was now at they're 18, they're taking you for 20 quids every 20 minutes. God, geez, 20. It used to be a couple of quid, now it's 20 quids.
Tell me about it, John. Tell me about it. So getting back to your career, you started off in the juniors, didn't you?
Aye, I started off with Newton Green Star with the Rangers strips.
Aye, but did you not start off as a striker, John?
No, in the juniors, not. In the juniors, I played in midfield.
Right.
And the Newton Green Star, it was like what you'll get doing in Ayrshire. All the teams, all the mining villages all had teams, Newton Green, Jarniston, Bonnerick, all that stuff. So very competitive. And that was probably my first time I started playing men's football, because I was 18 at the time, 18, 19, playing against ex-pros, getting stuck in and really playing men's football. Loved it, absolutely. I'll tell you what I loved about it. I loved the social life. Because although we're competing against all these guys, all the junior boys that come from Edinburgh, once your game was finished, you were back up the tune in Edinburgh, and everybody, you know, we all went to our certain bits, and you got to know them all in a couple of bevies before you know it. You're a night out up the tune. So it was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant.
So I was just going to say, then you moved on to Berwick Rangers. How did you end up going for midfield? I believe you went up to striker at Berwick Rangers, and then how did you end up moving back to centre half?
Well, it was Berwick Rangers. When I went to Berwick Rangers, Jim Jeffries come in and Billy Brown. They weren't there when I first went. They come in, and the two, we never hit it off great, because I was a little bit pissed off that they had sacked the old manager. Right. And I never knew Jim and Billy at the time. And they were trying to send me back to Newton Green Star because of that. But eventually it all calmed down and I got playing for them. And it was him that says, right, we couldn't win a game. And him that says, right, I'll put you up centre forward. I think we went 22 games unbeaten. But it wasn't a centre forward with movement like Larson or McCoy to these guys. There was more than a batter, and I got banged up there. And if the centre half was daft enough to try to put his head on it, then it was all that stuff. And that's what it was. And I made sure it was available and fell down, and I put my head in where other guys didn't fancy it. We went 22 games unbeaten, and he sold me down as a centre forward to Swansea City. But I was still part-time. See, the juniors and Berwick Rangers were part-time. I was a painter and decorator. So when I got sold to Swansea City, that was me going into full-time football. And that was at the age of 20, 23, 24. And that was like, wow, you know, just the tempo and the standard of training and the quality of player. And I was never a centre forward, so I was really struggling. I'm saying, this is no for me. But I kept my head down, kept plugging away. And some good times down there. I played with some good players, Robbie James, Alan Curtis, Tommy Hutchison, but Chris Coleman was the left back. So real good times. And I can remember playing in the FA Cup we drew Liverpool at Swansea at the Vetch. It's not like Swansea is now, trust me, it was a shithole. And we were there at the Vetch. And the gym, the pitch was there, and the jail was right next to it. And you're driving in and all, they were all out the window giving you pelters, going into training and all that, and you're just turning around, two's up on your sentence and all that. And the boy shook the two, is that right? I'm getting out tomorrow. And he says, and I'll be down to see you.
That must have been some experience, but playing against Liverpool with Swansea. That was them at the top of their game, that Liverpool side, wasn't it?
That was it. The Beardsley, Kenny Dalglish was the manager, and it was Beardsley, McMahon, Glenn Hussein, Hansen, all these guys, Rushy, all these guys. But we drew 0-0 with them at the Vetch, and I had a wee half chance with a header in the last 5 minutes. I should have done better with. But then we went down to Anfield on the replay, and they scalped us for 8. 8-0 at Anfield. I hit the post, but I think I put it my old man and my uncle and a couple of the mates, they come down to see the game. They never reported back home for 3 days. They were on the they were on the last down in Liverpool.
That's brilliant, but so you were like 20. What age were you when you went professional, like full time?
So that's what I'm saying. I've come right through the juniors, part time and full time. That was 24 at Swansea, and
that's quite late one, isn't it? That's quite late for a football player, you know, to be in that position. Did you ever think it before that? No, you wouldn't make it.
No, because you want to know something. At a young age, we all played juvenile. We all played against each other. If I tell you the players, guys like Paul Kane, Darren Jackson, John Robertson, Gary Mackay, David Bowman, Big Gordon Marshall, we all played against each other. And we were all in training at Hibs on Hearts. I was in training at Hibs 2 nights a week. When I was 15, you're saying, I'm going full-time professional. As soon as I leave school, that's all I want to do. And it never materialised. And my ma says, right, you're going to become a painter and decorator, you're going to get a trade. But it was that disappointment that could either make you or break you. And I always had it in me to say, I'll prove you wrong, I'll prove you wrong. And that's where, even then, and it was just a case of finding somewhere that I could enjoy my football. The next step, I couldn't get senior, so the next step was going junior. And then for there, building your name, building your reputation. And then a bit of luck, I have to say that, a bit of luck, because as I say, I met Jim Jeffries. Jim Jeffries brought a real professionalism to Berwick, although it was only part-time. Then he sold me to Swansea, but he then got the Falkirk job. And you see how some managers go back for their old players because they know the character. And so when he got the Falkirk job, he brought me back to Falkirk. The problem was he brought me back as a centre forward, and I was never a centre forward. And it goes back to the question, that's where I found my feet, a centre half. It was like, wow, who turned the light off? The whole game was in front of me. Well, this suits me. I loved attacking the ball in the air. I knew my strengths. Played at Brockville. If any of you guys remember Brockville, it was a shit.
I remember it.
I was at Brockville quite a lot, so I was. My dad was really friendly with Peter Heatherstone, so we went to Brockville quite a lot. So we did when I was younger. I loved it.
Well,
Producer John there.
John, were you ever there?
I was there all the time.
He's a Cheshire cap, and you mentioned Brockville there.
But John, when I mention Brockville, when I say a shithole, I mean that in a proper. It was our shithole. It was our palace. It was our chapel.
It was the best.
It was absolutely magnificent because we knew teams hated coming there.
And when you come into the side, John, I mean, you didn't have to play up front. You had Simon Stainrod, you had the likes of Richie Cadet, Ken McAllister. I mean, what a team you played in.
It was me and Stainrod and Sammy McGovern hit the scene. Sammy really took it. Sammy was different class. And as you say, Silky Harrison, Peter Big Crawford Barty. But the players that Jim Jeffrey was recruiting for Falkirk, eventually, you're talking about guys like Kevin McAllister, Simon Stainrod, Tommy McQueen, Alec Taylor. You're saying, right, we've got to do something here. And I was just grateful and thankful that I found my position in the team. And I loved it. And I loved the attitude that Jim Jeffries brought to it. In terms of Brockville being small, tight, the goalkeeper could kick it from box to box. We were right up against boys, right in their faces, right up against them, man for man. And Jim Jeffries, you make sure you get the better of him. So anyone that come to Brockville, you were up for it. And they knew they were in a battle. Many a times we gave Celtic many a game at Brockville. In fact, I broke my ankle. Trying to tackle Collins and my studs caught in the turf. And my whole body weight come over the top and snapped my ankle. And that was moot for a long time. It wasn't until the next again year that I signed for Celtic. Once I signed for Celtic, Tommy Burns was saying he was going to sign me the year before, but I broke my ankle. So once again, a little bit of luck that opportunity was still there.
I mean, do you give John Collins about half a mile a start on the bike and then just get that thought in your head and just chase work out on the bike? I'm getting you, Collins. I'm owing you one for that as a receipt.
Well, see, when you're cycling with Collins, he has to wear a square heel helmet because he's got that square heel. But you'll never, trust me, no matter how much I cycle, you'll never catch him. He's a machine. He's an absolute machine.
Is he still like that? Is he still as fit as ever?
Oh, he's as fit as a fiddle. Mind, he's on the carbon fibre road bike. I'm on the chopper.
Does he cycle with his tap off and all that? And show his six pack
see all
off
that stuff. Honestly, see if you got to meet him. He's the most funniest guy. He loves the banter. And he's a bit of banter. His banter is a bit serious. But I play golf with him and cycle with him and all that, and you get a right good laugh. And he just laughs at all that stuff. What can I do? But he's got the six pack. He's still a machine.
I've always called him Top Gun haircut because he looks like he should be in Top Gun.
Oh, I know. He was the king of the gym at Celtic until the youngster walked in.
Youngster, brilliant. You'll need to give us his phone number so we can get him on the show, John.
You'll get a laugh. Honestly, you'll get a laugh. He's done me. He gets me. He's got a place in Monaco. He's still kept his wee place, and he says, "Come on." He says, "We'll go over for a week." He says, "We'll go cycling." There's that wee daft dog. Go cycling. So we went over with his place and all that. So we went into the garage, and he's got the Union Jack Mini. You know, the British Mini. So he's showing me about, and he says, "Come on, I'll show you where the Grand Prix starts." And he's driving about. When you get, I don't know if you've been in Monaco, but when you get up the top of the square, whatever it's called, it's the big hotel and the casino, and all the top motors and all that are there. He says, when we're up there, he says, "Listen," he says, "when I pull up in the car, you just get out and stand next to it." He says, "Because we'll not get parked. It's all the concierge come out for the hotel and all that." So he comes in, parks, I get out, stand next to it, he's up talking to them, he's shaking hands with them all, cuddling them all, and I see them all laughing and all pointing and doing, pissing themselves, laughing and all that. So he comes down and he's getting all the French chat. So eventually all I heard was bodyguard. And I turned around and said, "What?" He says, "I just told you you're my bodyguard, watching the car, watching
the By the way, if John Collins was driving about Glasgow with a Union Jack in his motor, he'd need a fucking bodyguard.
I know. Hey, don't worry, I tortured them for it. I tortured them. But even there in Monaco's all hills. And we're on the bike and he's away, and I say, "Oh, you need to come down a couple of gears, John." I says, "I'm struggling to get up these hills." But battered it in. And he's stitched me up so many times. But I've got my own back plenty of times on him, that's for sure. I remember even on the golf course and all that, because I play golf with him, he's so competitive, really competitive. But I'm constantly winding him up and talking in his backswing and all the stuff that you do. But just a bit of fun.
That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant.
So, John, looking back, how did the move to Celtic under Tommy Burns come about?
Well, what happened is I was still at Falkirk. Jim Jeffries had left to go to Hearts. He was wanting to take me to Hearts. I had done something like about 5 years at Falkirk. Paul McMurdo was my agent Orange. He was Maurice Johnston's agent.
That's right.
Maurice was in playing at Falkirk. He was on loan for Hearts. So Paul was about. So that's why he sort of took to me a wee bit. We were in talking to the chairman at Falkirk. Right, okay, right, fine, we're trying to do. We come out, we're sitting in the car park at Falkirk, and the phone went. And he says, "I'm sitting with a lad right now." And Bill McMurdo goes, "It's Tommy Burns." And I'm going, "Aye." So he comes on and he says, "Listen, Tommy Burns here, Glasgow Celtic." I says, "Fuck off, Maurice, stop taking a piss." I thought it was Maurice Johnston. I says, "You're taking a piss, Maurice." And I looked at Bill McMurdo, and Bill McMurdo's going, "Tommy Burns." So I says, "Aye." He says, "Give me the phone." He says, "Aye." He says, "He thought it was a wind-up." He says, "Listen, I want to sign him." He says, Bill McMurdo says, "Right, come to my house in Uddingston." He says, "We'll do it right now." He says, "Fine." Bill McMurdo says, "Would you hang?" I says, "Aye, definitely." He says, "Listen," he says, "you've got one phone call." I phoned my missus and I says, "Listen, I've got a chance. I've got to talk to Celtic." He says, "I've got a chance to sign in for them." I says, go and get my old man and tell my old man. My old man's in the boozer on the Never Never. Right? I improved him out and says, "Listen," he says, "I think Yogi's got to sign for Celtic." He went back in, drinks all around, put it on the slate.
Oh, brilliant, man. Brilliant, man. That's what it would be.
I went through to Uddingston, Bill McMurdo's, and I walked into his house and it was like walking into Mini Ibrox. I'm not joking, I had the big Rangers crested carpet in the middle, red, white and blue. He was going up the stair to put a Rangers strip. I'm flapping. I'm saying, "Bill, what are you doing?" I says, "Come on, let's be..." "Don't you worry, he's got the cups out, Rangers cups." Next minute, ding dong, in walked TB and Billy Stark. "Aye, how you doing?" "No problem." Gave him a cup of tea in the Rangers mugs. The two of them they were laughing. They found it so funny. And then they went in, done the deal, and that was it. Come out, shook hands on it. And the thing about it, Fergus McCann didn't know he was signing me. He just said, "Right, I'm going to sign him." And took the chance. So the next game day, Celtic were playing Newcastle. They were opening a new stand.
Aye.
And Rod Stewart was coming in to do the stand, open the stand. Bill McMurdo was the agent for Rod Stewart. So he was at Parkhead with me in the morning doing the medical. And then we were standing about, he says, come on, come with me. He says, we'll go and meet the plane coming in. In comes a jet, Rod Stewart comes down the stairs, says, this is John Yogi Hughes, just signed for Celtic. And he just says, something I wanted to do all my life, wish me all the best. And they all jumped in the limo and left me stuck at the airport. I had to jump in with a snapper to get back to Parkhead to watch a game. And made my debut on the Monday against Liverpool. Ian Rush, McManaman, Fowler, all these guys. And I never had a nerve in my body. That was the last time my father come to see me play. He was a big Celtic man, my old man, and he wasn't in great health. And I made my debut. And I can remember it, we were high up the pitch, and McManaman went on one of the mazy runs, and all the grass was in behind, and he knocked it to go. And I just gave him the clothesline, a body check clothesline, took the yellow card in the place. Do
you know what? I was just about to say there, that was my first game at Celtic Park under my season ticket. And I remember that, and I remember the roar when you put him in his arse, man. It was like, yes, we've got a fucking centre half now, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what it was. It was like, well, you know what you're getting. Wear my heart on my sleeve and anything to win the game. And that was it. And then for there, it was like, I went there when I was 31. So you're thinking you've done all your apprenticeship, you've done all your learning. It was just up another 2 gears for what I was used to. No disrespect to Falkirk under Jim and Bully, 2 guys that, if it wasn't for they guys, I might have had the chance of going down a different path. They got me at the right time, kept me at the football. And I loved everything about Falkirk and the training. But when you went to Celtic, it was like, wow, what is this all about? You're talking about guys like Van Hooijdonk, Cadete, Collins, McStay, Granty, Andres Tom, and the madman coming, Canio. Unbelievable. But the standard of training, you probably know all the rondo, they all do 7v2, 6v2 in the middle. Well, I was always one of the 2 in the middle. Because I always kept giving the ball away, the standard and the quality of the rondos, and gave the ball away. But you soon getting up to speed, you say, right, come on, get up to speed. You know what was after. And it was great, but I always found the games easier in the training. I felt the training, we trained at that much intensity and that many demands on us. We could play old v young, and it would kick off. And if it didn't kick off, TB would start it. He would put a tackle in, and next thing minute it would be up a notch. We would all be getting anything to win that game.
Did you ever have any square clothes with the Canio?
No, he kept away from me. He was away from me. He's no that daft. Because he had a big sleep.
Aye, that one. Remember that one when he was walking off the pitch?
When you talk about these guys, the Canio and all these guys, everything, the higher I went in the game to Celtic, the more humble the players are.
Aye.
Carlo and Paul McStay and John Collins, you're humble, they'll do anything for you, anything to help you, really want you to do well. And that's what I found at Celtic. It was like you're walking in there. Even now, when we go back to Celtic, if I go back and do the radio, or if I take my team back, I can remember taking Inverness back there and they'd done the whole programme, the back page and the inside page, all about myself, a big photograph, and it's like you're welcome with open arms. It's unbelievable the way you get treated when you go back to Parkhead.
How good? What was his style? Like Tommy Burns, how good a manager was he, John? What was his style like?
Miles in front. Tommy Burns was Pep Guardiola of the day. Miles in front. Everything that you want, if you want to do as a coach and a manager, even when I helped for the SFA and I tutored the B and the A badges, so I got all the coaches coming through. Bruni was on in my group last year. He's got a right good chance of being a coach.
Right.
There's so many facets of what you need, and one of them is to go on and demonstrate. Tommy Burns played in the old v young, he was the best player on the pitch. He was outstanding. What a footballer! But his knowledge of the game, showing you your passes, being a centre half, taking time out with you, talking to you, his man management, his people skills, looking after you. but just seeing that's how simple the game is, you know. I can remember playing Aberdeen. Remember Collins, I think we beat them 3-2. I think it was the first couple of games of the season.
It was
Collins
the first
scored,
game. It was the first game, and it was 2-0 at half time to Aberdeen, and we beat them 3-2.
Collins scored a goal with outside of the left boot right in the top corner.
That's right.
We were getting beat 2-0, and I was watching it. It wasn't that long ago. I was watching the game. It come on television, and Aberdeen were winning 2-0, and the camera went on Tommy Burns, and they just standing like that, keep passing the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. And it was all that stuff, you know, pass it to suck it out, to get in there, to create space, and all that stuff. And every one of them played a part, and it was fantastic to play in. And honestly, when you run out, when you're like myself and you've no made the grade at that age at 16, and you get to the top, any young kid in Scotland to play for any half of the old firm, to go and play for Celtic and run out in front of 60,000 in the tunes, hairs on the back of your neck, stand up, absolutely stand up. And to get to do that and play in Europe and play with the players, I'm a lucky boy, really, really grateful.
How big
a lot of them are good friends still.
How big a thing was it for you to realise that dream and get your dad to be there? Obviously, he didn't keep well, but he got to see you playing for Celtic once.
Well, I buried my dad in my number 5, and that's what I keep saying. You know, everybody, you've done it, nobody can take it away from you. You know, you can get credit, that, fine. I've done it, I never let myself down. I gave it everything I've got. I conducted myself in the best that I could. And just to have that opportunity, and when my dad died, I buried him in the strip with a number 5 on it, the one that I kept. It was all torn, and I'd sew it, and that was it, you know, superstition, all that stuff. And I buried him in it, so it was absolutely fantastic. It was something. It was a dream come true. My mother had died years and years before, and she was you know, I've got 3 big sisters, 2 big brothers. I'm the youngest, and we had a real hard upbringing, no much money about and all that. But with my mum, always says, get into the football. Well, I lost a brother with drugs. He died at the age of 30. And I'm always grateful and thankful that for me, I had the football. He was a great player, but it was the football that kept me on the straight and narrow, training 2 nights a week. And even at times, if I went AWOL when I was a young kid, my coach, an unsung hero for the juveniles, a guy called Alan Docherty, many a time he would bang on the door and say, get your gear, we're going training. Because you knew it was the football that kept you going and kept you away from the wrong crowd. And that was it. So to get for there, no make it, play the juniors, come through the hard way and get to the top and play for Celtic in Europe as well and play with all the great players, you're saying to yourself, well done.
It's like, I'm a Rangers fan, right? But I'm sitting here listening to this and I've got goosebumps thinking about it, that you did have the opportunity to do that and play. It's funny when you're saying as well, playing at Parkhead with the tunes on and all that. I think that sounds brilliant, being a player and hearing the music and the roar of the crowd. Must be no better feeling in the world, man.
It's unbelievable. Even now, my oldest daughter, she used to come and watch Hibs when I was manager of Hibs, and her 3 or 4 years ago, she always says she wanted to go to an Old Firm game, and I says to her, go in beside the Green Brigade, and I says, and we got them tickets, and her and they went in, she come back, she says, what an experience. What an experience that is. She says, the place was jumping. And even now, I've done my time, and I'm a coach and a manager and all that, but when you still go back and you look at it, and you know, 67.
That's a game.
Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
My favourite one is the one that they shout at one end of the Glasgow's green and white, and it goes from one end of the stadium to the other. It's like a fucking Hollywood production.
Oh, I know. But that's what football is.
I mean, that's my favourite one and all, mate.
Even Rangers, when you go to Rangers and when you go to Ibrox, the tunes, you know, it's different, you know, they really make it to the supporters, like, you're coming along here, you're going to enjoy yourself, we're going to play a part. And even being an opposition player, you get caught up in it. You get caught on that. It's very hard noted, but you know, all that stuff, and you go, wow. And as I say, when I went back to Parkhead many a time as a supporter to watch games, I'm out with my camera as well, doing it all and all that stuff. And I think that's what Scottish football is all about. I think we've got a lot of good stuff going on in Scottish football, a lot of good stuff. I mentioned Rangers before. I think Steven Gerrard's been absolutely fantastic for Scottish football. And I've seen Rangers progressing. And it's got to go nip and tuck. It's going to go nip and tuck. But I have to say, I still fancy Celtic to get that 10 in a row.
I hope you're right, John. I hope you're right. So, John, back to your career, mate. How, right, you're saying all that there, right, and obviously it's obvious your love for Celtic, right? How hard was it to leave Celtic when you went to Hibs, when Hibs came calling?
Easy. It was easy. There was a few things. I had come in and took over for big Tony Mowbray. And then he had signed Stubbsy, obviously, to take over for me. But he pulled me and says, listen, you have to fight for your place and all that stuff. And I'm saying, right, but you're not going to spend that amount of money, you're not going to play. Brian O'Neill was coming back for an injury, so there was real competition for there. There was 2 or 3 clubs sniffing about, wanting to take me on loan or wanting to buy me. And it always kept me up. Tommy Burns come on, I really want. I said, no for me, 1 or 2 other clubs. And then, right, okay, and I was still training away. And then he come and he pulled me into his office. He says, I think this one might suit you. He says, I think you might fancy this one. I says, what is it? He says, it's Hibs. And I just leaned over and shook his hand and says, thanks very much. He went, no, you've just to go to talk to them. I says, listen, I just says, absolutely fantastic, wish you well. And he just started laughing. He says, I knew that. Because as a kid, I was a Celtic supporter up to the age of 14, I used to go to the Leaf Celtic supporters bus, left for the Fit of Leaf walk and went through. But when I started playing, that was because I played on a Sunday. When the juveniles changed to a Saturday, I could play my game and only I could get up to Easter Road, and that's when I changed and started watching Hibs. So when Hibs come in under Jockey Scott, because Jockey Scott had a reputation of being a fantastic coach, and when I went there, I wasn't disappointed. It was absolutely brilliant. But then I'm coming for Celtic, being now I've got it all on my shoulders, being a local boy, born and bred Leafer, on my shoulders with the pressure, saying, right, come on in, let's go. But I loved it, absolutely loved it. I can remember coming back with Gordon Marshall, coming back, and I says to Marsh, I say, it's been a pleasure. I played with big Gordon Marshall at Falkirk, and I was grateful and thankful he was there. He was my travelling partner for Edinburgh. And I says to him, I say, it's been a pleasure. No, I says, no, I says, that'll be it. I says, and that was it, I went to Hibs. But it wasn't a great. Jockey Scott lost his job, and then Jim Duffy come in to try and rescue it a bit. And I felt, even now, looking back, it's something that you're sort of saying to yourself, did I give these 2 guys everything that I had? Could I have done a little bit more? And you sort of, I take the responsibility and blame on myself being a local boy, you know, but that's the way football was. And when Jim Duffy come in, we went into that. It was the first year of the playoffs. We played Airdrie in a playoff to stay, and we beat them. It wasn't a great game. It was a 2-leg thing. It wasn't a great game. The 2 games, the ball was up in the air all the time. But we stayed in the Premier League. And then the next again year, we were struggling, and Jim lost his job, and Big Alec McLeish come in. So I look back at the 2 times and say, could have done more. And you're always questioning yourself, picked up a few injuries. But then when Big Alec come in, we couldn't stay in the league, and we got relegated. And that's been my biggest disappointment in football, getting relegated for Hibs. It really, really hurt me. But what happened was, Rod Petrie had just come in to look after the club, and I was a little bit still didn't really know the landscape of the football and how it worked. So Big Alec was right on top of him in terms of the quality of player. You're talking about guys like Soze, Mixu, Latapy, Dirk Lehman. Me being a player and a supporter, I'm then going, oh, this is what Hibs are all about. This is what the fans want. This is what I wanted. This is what, now you could see the place. You could see the team going places. And we're thankful that we got back right up to the Premier League after that 1 year. in the first division, right back up in the Premier League, and got another year at it. And I enjoyed working, every manager, I enjoyed working with Big Alec McLeish. I really enjoyed working with Jim Duffy, Jockey Scott. There's no been one that I've been disappointed in. Everyone's got their own different ways to go about it, but you pick up bits and pieces. But for total football and being out there and really capturing your imagination, Tommy Burns was... Tommy Burns. But I'll always be grateful to Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown. They done it different. They know they never had that kind of money to attract the players, so they had to really bring the real good, strong character to the dressing room. Real, and when you're talking about characters, you're talking about nutcases. I'm serious, but guys that will say, I'm not getting beat today, and got a bit about themselves. And the guys, and that's probably for the spirit and the camaraderie at my playing time at Falkirk was probably the best dressing room I've been in. It was absolutely... You know Silky's mate, Stephen Cody. Do you know Cody?
Aye, I know Cody, aye.
You would go into the Falkirk dressing room and the banter and the spirit, and you would go in there and you turn your back, your clothes would be gone. They would be floating in a big bath, or they would be up the flagpole, your socks. Honestly, it was... A guy, one of the boys come in with a new car, showing his new car, look at this and all that. Aye. So we went on the minibus away to training. Next minute, the new car turns up at the training pitch. Cody's driving it right across the training pitch, trying to run all the boys over, doing all the donuts and handbrake turns. That was the kind of thing that went on. It was absolutely, and it was all done in good spirit and good fun and a right good time. But as I say, you move on, and some of the characters that you meet in football, even now, you know, if you play and you go up the tune, my missus refused to go shop with me because every 20, how you doing, how's the football, what's this, who's that? Guys you played against right away back in the juniors and all that stuff. So, as I say, Big Alec come in, and he was different class, Big Alec. He would come on the training pitch and he would be one of the best players on the training pitch. And every now and then he would really have a go at someone and really bring them right down. And I says to him after training once, I says, Gaffer, I says, no, I think you were a bit tough. And he pulled me, he says, come here. He says, what? He says, see if they cannot handle me he says, he was testing their character. If they cannot handle me on a training pitch, how are they going to handle Parkhead and Ibrox? And I says to him, I went, I says, is that the way Sir Alex? He went, Yogi. He says, look at the characters in my Aberdeen team. Him, Wally Muller, Kennedy, right back, Doug Rugby, Simpson, John McMaster, McGee, Dougal McDougall. You're talking about, no wonder they won what they won and had the success that they had, because what I've said to you, that characters, they just know the will to win. And when you look at Sir Alex when he went to Manchester United, after a while, Brian Robson, Bruce, Pallister, Keane, you know, it's they strong characters, they winners, they leaders. No, just one leader, they're all leaders. Mm-hmm. And that's what Big Alec was all about. And Zach's very similar to Jim Jeffries.
It's clever, man. It is, because it's giving him a thick skin into it, man. You need to have that going places. So that's quite clever for Big Alec, man.
But you'll buckle. I'm interested in now to see all the players, and I'm seeing all the football with these supporters. You know, when the supporters come back, can you still, you know, you have to find the courage and the nerve to go and get on the ball and pass it, because if it's wrong, the supporters will be right on your case, and then do you stand up to it, or do you let it affect you? And if you let it affect you, your performance dips. All your top world-class players and all your top players, they go out and they need the supporters there, because that's their stage, and they want to go off and want to put a show on. That's what I believe in the ones, you know. But there's other ones that went, you know, they take stage fright. So, and that's football, but it's part and parcel of your character and what it takes to be a footballer.
See, when you're saying how much, like, obviously you felt you took a lot of responsibility when you were at Hibs, and then when you went down, was there ever players in that Hibs team that you felt you had to grab by the scruff of the neck and go, you need to get your fucking finger out?
Well, definitely. I was listening. I done a wee bit on that Gary O'Connor interview the other day. Gary was a young boy at Hibs when I was the captain there. And I was listening after the cup final. I never knew that. After the cup final, he says they were fighting and there was fisticuffs and all that. All my time in football and all the dressing rooms I've been in, I've never seen it or never been involved in anything like that. The dressing room I was in at Falkirk, I was the captain, I run it. So if anybody had something, I would just say, hey, it's the gaffers, and you run it that way. Many a time you would go, like the gaffer would give you a nod and say, can you have a word with him? And you had a word with him in the way, he said, listen, he says, how are you feeling? And even now, looking back with all the mental health issues that are going on, you're looking back now and you say, you never know, the guy might just be suffering a wee bit or lack of confidence. So even back when you go and address things, you're addressing it and say, we need a wee bit more of you, but I'm here to help you. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What do you need me? What do you want from me? And anything like that. So, and that was the way it was done. But football pitches and on the training pitches, fisticuffs and all that stuff. Oh, there's plenty of that goes on, but I've never been involved in any of it. Honestly, you get kicked, you just get up, you get on with it, and you just go, oh, well, you take it, you dish it out, and that was it. And I just love to train. I absolutely love training and everything about it. Even now, I'm going to tell you something. I've talked right through the career I've had as a player and getting there and playing for Celtic, Europe and all the players and Hibs and playing for the clubs I wanted to play, going on to coaching and management and getting success. I would give the whole lot up, everything up, to start again at 50. That's how much I miss it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I just
then you wouldn't have your wee dog, John.
Eh?
Then you wouldn't have your wee dog.
That wee dog's been locked out. Watch. I've loved it. I absolutely love it. And everything what I'm talking about, not just playing. I speak to ex-players. I bump into them. I'm saying, do you miss a game? No, really. And I'm going, what? You're joking? No, really. I'm saying to myself, oh, what I would do just to compete, put a strip on, compete, get stuck in, and just play the game. I kept playing till I was 40, and I always played charity matches. Now what you see with the glasses. I can remember playing, I never had the contacts, and I jumped up to head the ball and hit me flush right in the dish. Boom. And I just said to myself, that's me finished. That's it. The ball's coming in the box and I could hardly see it. And somebody says, get the contacts. I says, I probably will, but I never did. But I still keep myself fit, and I got the chance. You think, well, the days are long gone. And Moravchik, Henrik Larsson charity match. You get the phone call to go along, 60,000. I'm like a kid in a sweetie shop. Say, oh, what a chance! Bump back and play with all the legends and all that. Went in, met all the boys, went up the stairs, breakfast, met them all, how you doing, all that stuff. Went doing Boydie, Tom Boyd, pick, substitute. What are you doing, Boyd? I'm not going sub. You're sub. I've never been your sub. Me and Simon Donnelly. So Simon's fit as a fiddle. He still plays the 7-a-sides and all that. So Simon says to just nudges, says, Yogi, so watch us after 20 minutes. He says, me and you will be on. Because I was keeping myself really fit doing the cycling. 20 minutes, all the hands are going up, hamstrings, calves. Right, on this ball. Oh, there you go. It was absolutely brilliant. I can remember opposite on the jungle side for the main stand, it got played wide and Jakinovski's got the ball. But we're all over the place. And I ran out and I started rubbing my hands. But on the sprint, rubbing my hands, I have to say, right, you're mine. Oh, did you know we'd started doing all the double step overs, getting it all that? And oh, no! I'm saying, oh no, I forgot how good a player this guy was. And I'm trying. It just about got there and I got a wee toe in it and a wee poked it out for a corner, a wee good defending. And I'm saying to myself, I turned around, Jackie McNamara, young Jackie standing there, just started laughing. He's just shaking his feet. But to go back and get that and feel it again and what it was all like, it was absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So tell us this one, right? I'm sorry to go back to your time at Celtic, but what was it like?
Falkirk here, Chris, come on.
Listen, see once he scored a goal against Rangers, we need to talk about that, all right? So the header at Ibrox, talk me through it.
Well, what happened, that was in the last quarter of the season, it was nip and tuck for the league. That year, we only lost one game and Rangers still won the league. We were playing some great football. So it was nip and tuck, and I think it was about 5 minutes to go. It was St. Patrick's Day. I can remember that, and I blame myself for the first one because I was picking up my clam, but the ball came in that flat. I couldn't get a jumper over the top of him, and he just flicked it, and it flew in the top corner. So I'm still playing with all that pressure on me, but to score the goal at Ibrox in the Celtic end, it's just, and I don't know the camera. Actually, I run into the Celtic, but the camera goes on Paul McStay, and it just comes back on me and the tears are pouring down my face. The emotion, I couldn't control my emotions. I know what it meant, and I'm not sitting here patronising or anything like that. I know what it meant. You know what it meant. I can live with that for the next 5 to 20 years.
You've not bought a drink yet.
I know. So when I come back in the centre circle, the game started. Coisty actually come up and says, well done. He says, you give me one of it. He says, well done, you deserve that. You know, with that wee stupid grin on his face. And you're sort of looking at him. 2 minutes later, they went up and hit the crossbar. I don't know if it was Gascoigne or Coisty. And then you're looking at him and he's giving you that wee look again. You go, we got the tunnel 1-1. But it was absolutely fantastic. And I still get reminded about it now.
That was some season, that, man. That's probably my favourite season as a Celtic fan. Honestly, even though we never won anything, it was fucking what a sight to watch. We
played some great football and some great players. See some of the stuff at Di Canio and when I first went in, Paul McStay was injured. He had an ankle operation and some of the bone taking out his ankle, but then he done his rehab, come back. What a footballer Paul McStay was. Jeez, he could not get the ball off him. What a footballer.
Well, Rio Ferdinand names him as his favourite ever player. Rio Ferdinand, know what I mean? So that tells you how good a player McStay was. But
what a footballer was. Remember, lovely lad. Great lad. And that was easy. See if somebody tried to hit a high ball over the top and you were going up to head it, you were just up periscope, right? And before you knew it, you were just heading it 5 yards, mixed to giz it, head it down to me. Or if you catch it on your chest, before it hit the ground, McStay was on your toes, giz it. If it wasn't him, it was Collins or Granty. And that's what Tommy Burns instilled, playing the football. It was great, I loved it. And it opened my eyes to football a little bit. I've always been into the football, how it's done. My old man was a real sort of football buff in terms of, you know, you don't have to go toe-to-toe and all that stuff. He played junior all his day, inside forward, never got sent off. And he says, I don't know where you get it for, son. He says, you must have got it for your mass side. That was his claim to fame. I'm getting sent off every 2 weeks. But I just loved it. I just loved competing. It was absolutely standing in that tunnel, knowing that you've gave it everything that you've got. Going out on a Saturday saying, I feel a million, I feel like Superman here because I've trained so, my diet, everything, I cannot get beat. That was the mindset I always try to put myself in. Listen, I put my hand up. It was better players and all that stuff, but it was coming up against all these guys that he could run you say, well, I better get myself fit and quick. He could out. And I would always say to myself, if he double steps over, like I was saying with Jakanowski, if he does it all that and fires one in the top corner, I'll be the first one to pat him on the head and say, well done. But you're going to have to do it again because I'm coming back for more. And that was, I always try to play in that mindset. But when I went to Celtic, it was a little bit different. It was a little bit, you don't have to go there. Pick and choose your moments. You have to come off. You have to start the play. You have to get on the ball. You have to pass it. You have to get it into midfield. So that's what I'm sort of saying, whoa. And that's where Tommy Burns come in. It was a real education.
Did you play in the free game at the Rangers in 1995? Were you in that game? Was that when you scored?
No, it was a one each game at Ibrox that he scored.
But do you want to know, I see all these games, right? I don't know if you was there. There was a game at Ibrox, 3-3.
Aye.
Aye, that's the one I'm talking about. The one where
that one. That was the best. That was the best Old Firm game I've seen, and I've played in for a long time. And yet I've never seen it getting replayed on.
That was the first one. That was my all-time favourite Old Firm game.
Remember, that's where Jerry, what's the score came from? Mind, because Davy Robertson got a goal chopped off, and everybody thought the Rangers had scored. That was brilliant.
But that was it. And as I say, you were up against a Rangers team with Gorham, what a goalkeeper he was, and a right good lad, Gorham, a right good lad. Gascoigne,
great guy.
Loudrop, Goffey, I think it was John Brown, Robertson. Gascoigne was the best player I've ever played against. He was a magician. He was absolutely tough as nails. Tough as nails. I can remember I hit him once in an old Firm game, and I knew I left a wee bit of knee in there, and I says, he'll not come back for that. And I says, I thought I gave him a dead leg. Yeah, up he just sprung and away he went again. Outstanding. What a footballer.
With football, I mean, Scottish football at that point, I mean, the Celtic team, the Rangers team, they were great teams, you know what I mean? Yeah. The players were unbelievable, man.
Certainly Rangers, but Celtic, but it just shows you it swings and roundabout, how it turns and changes and catches. And, but it's good. Always enjoyed
it. Style of producer John's face here, right? Because producer John is wanting me to ask you about Falkirk, can't you, John?
Well, of course, he's a Falkirk. Listen, Yogi is in our player of the millennium. He's given me some of the greatest moments as a player and as a manager as well. He's an absolute bona fide legend. In fact, Yogi, I don't know when the statue construction starts outside the stadium, but we'll wait and see.
Well, John, you want to know something? I actually got quoted saying that they should be building a statue of me, but you know what the reason was for saying that? Because it's a wee bit, it still hurts me now, it still rankles when I was leaving. After I gave everything to Falkirk as a player and as a coach, my heart and soul, I worked my socks off. And right for a player, because you've probably seen it at Brockville, but when I was always grateful for getting the opportunity to coach and manage. And we worked ever so hard, myself and Brian Rice. And if you see the players that we brought to that club,
I mean, talk me through Russell, because Russell.
You're talking about Casper Schmeichel, you're talking about Tim Krul, you're talking about Stokesy, you're talking about Gilza, all the strikers that we had. Andy Thompson was for me was the best one out, the most natural one out of them all.
Darryl Duffy.
I don't know how Rangers let him go. And then Higdon, Pedro Martino, Gilza, Stokes, Stevie Lovell, Carol Finnegan, and everything was with Latapy. And then, but we were constantly, we had a great pride in saying we're the hardest workers. We were constantly doing England, watching our reserve games, got to know them all. And that's why they all know you're doing your work. So they say, well, they're workers. So, and then we had an environment where the players would want to come. It wasn't like it was jumpers for goalposts. We really built the club up. Eventually, we were in at Stirling University. We had the run of it. They were right in it with us. And it was absolutely fantastic. But Russell, when he come, he left Hibs, went to Rangers, and then he ended up at Dundee United. And it wasn't working out for him. And then he was basically retired, but still in Glasgow at the age of 32, 33. So I got in touch with him. I said, do you want to come in? He come in, he says, I'll play for a couple of seasons. I think he played till he was 38, 40. He was absolutely outstanding. He's the best player I've ever played with. And I know you're
away you go, you played with the Canio, your chancer.
The Canio.
Can he tie you Latapy's shoelaces?
No, I totally understand. Everybody says this, that, and you can judge it where the things that Latapy could do, and probably because I've seen it every day, left foot, right foot, never dive into me with nothing. You would think he had eyes in the back of his head. He was an absolute genius. And yet he was so humble, great guy, help you, Russell and Brent, I'll take the trialists to come and stay with me. Russell, I've got 2 trials that can come and stay with me. And all that stuff, he was magnificent. And then you would be picking a team, you'd go to Parkhead, Ibrox, and you'd be going through it, you'd do all your tactics, you'd be going through it, you'd right back, left back, right, and you'd get to Russell and say, Russell, where's Russell? All the boys.
Having a fag.
You'd be sitting in the toilet, you'd go through, and the smoke would be Russell Gaffer, I know what I'm doing, trust me, I know what I'm doing, right? And do it and be man of the match. It never fazed him, he used to laugh, he was outstanding. What a footballer. What a football player that guy was. And the reason I say that is anything he could do with his right foot, his left foot was just as good.
We had Marvin Andrews on the show a couple of weeks back, right? and he was telling us that back in Trinidad and Tobago, Russell's far more famous than Dwight York. You ask them who's the best footballer that ever played for Trinidad, and they all say Russell rather than Dwight York.
Well, that's what it wouldn't surprise me, but that's the Shreebo, Latapy, Yorkie, and Brian Lara.
That's right.
That's the Shreebo, and a couple of. I left Hibs. I went into the pub game. I was still playing at Ayr United, and I says I got back in touch with Russell. I say, Russell, any chance of coming in and just making a wee appearance in the pub? He says, I'll be doing Saturday. I never thought anything of it. I never thought anything. I'm just pouring pints and all that and batting away and ducking and diving. How you doing? Next thing you minute, the doors open up. In walks Latapy, Brian Lara, and about 5 or 6, 6'4", 6'5", fast bowlers for the West Indies. They were in Edinburgh playing. So, and Latapy says, right, do me knee. And it wasn't a case of staying for 10 minutes. They were in there for about 2 hours. All the boys are like, what's going on here? Brian Lara, legend.
No way, man.
Other times, if York is coming up to see him, right, we're going a night out, and all the Falkirk boys, right, we're out in Glasgow, night out, Yorkie and all that stuff. Come on, Russell, no messing in Yorkie. Just right down to earth guys. But I seen Yorkie picking his best 11 on the Sky once. He actually turned around and says the best player, Latapy.
Aye.
It was unbelievable. He used to nutmeg me every day in life. Just used to look that way, and I used to dive in nuts. Many a time he'd come nuts and just start laughing. I'm fucking going to kill you, Latapy. And he just used to laugh. He had me on toast, honestly. Had me on toast. But it was an absolute genius. It was an absolute. The other time was back in Trinidad. As I say, that's a Shreebo. I think Russell, when he first came to Falkirk, he couldn't even hold a golf club. When he left Inverness, he was playing off his scratch golf. And Yorkie, I think Yorkie's a scratch golfer, and I think Lara's a scratch golfer. So they try and play on all the pro-ams over that way. He goes and stays with Lara. Lara's got a ranch, and he's went in, he's got in at night, and Brian Lara says to him, listen, Russell, he says, watch what you're doing, because I've got a few other guests. Russell says, aye, no bother. So he gets up in the morning, comes down in the kitchen, and a guy's in the fridge. Russell goes, morning. The guy pulls his seats back out the fridge and goes, morning, Mick Jagger. Serious? Russell tells me, I said, serious? He went, aye. He says, Mick Jagger right into his cricket. He says, loved the cricket. He says, so Mick Jagger, he says, and all that. Russell did no bother his backside. And what a guy when I took him into Inverness, into the coaching, in terms of, see the game would be playing, the information it would put into your ear. You need to do that, change this, watch that, play Shree in the middle, watch this, take him on. And you would just see it. He could see the game, see the way the game was getting played, palmed out. He would tell you how to make it. It was brilliant. He was absolutely, and he's a great lad. I've never heard from him. The last I heard, he was a manager in Barbados.
Aye.
Oh, see, be fair, see if there's a team.
Yorkie's weird. There you are.
If there's a team that you want to manage. If there's a team you want to manage, it's fucking Barbados, isn't it?
Well,
I can just see. I can just see Russell Latapy being the manager of Barbados, Dwight Yorkie's assistant, Mick Jagger the kit man.
Oh, no, brilliant, eh?
Mick Jagger does the half-time entertainment.
Oh, unbelievable. But
right, John, we need to ask you, like, before we go, right, we need to ask you, like, Inverness, lifting the trophy, how good did that feel?
Oh, magnificent. Inverness. I knew what I was going into when I went up there. I'd done my due diligence, and I needed to get back into the game.
Aye.
I needed to get back into the game. It was when we beat Celtic in the semi-final. We got lucky and we beat Celtic. But as soon as Celtic were down to 10 men, there was only one winner. The way my teams play and keep the ball. And then we were massive underdogs against Celtic. We had nothing to lose, and that was the mindset. Now we're in the final. We're the Premier League team. We're now the favourites. It's Falkirk who's the underdogs. And it's a whole different mindset. But the preparation, everything we done was fantastic. And to go and win the cup, to go and win it, it will never be repeated. I don't think it will ever be repeated. And I'll tell you why. You'll get a lower league club maybe getting there and winning the Scottish Cup. But if you look at the league as well, in the SPL, we also finished third in the league that year.
Aye.
You know, so the whole thing to do it with a provincial club, and that's where I take, where's your medals, where's your strips, where's that? It's nothing about, that's not what's important for me. What's important for me is when you get these kind of guys, you need to get them on the coaching pitch and coach them and coach them and coach them. And when you see it coming to fruition, and these guys implementing all your training ideas and getting success, that's what football's all about. That's what it's all about. It was absolutely fantastic. Don't ask me what happened after we won it, because I can't remember getting off the team bus the time we got back to Inverness.
Hey, you should have you could have a statue in Inverness, or all.
Oh, I know, aye.
A statue in Falkirk, a statue in Inverness, man.
I forgot to tell you, see that Falkirk thing? That Falkirk thing was for everything that I'd done at Falkirk. It was when I was leaving to go to Hibs. They says to me, they couldn't get a deal, and they says to me, give up your Scottish Cup, because the last game was a Scottish Cup final. We kept them in the league and took them into Europe. And they says, give up your 3 bonuses, and that'll be the compensation for Hibs. And I'm saying to myself, listen, I've worked my socks off for that, absolutely everything. And everything I've gave to the club, and you're asking me to do that. And that's when I turned around and says, Christ, give up my bonuses, you should be building a statue. and it still rankles with me a little bit. But that was it. But to get to Inverness, brilliant. And the boys at Inverness, I never knew I had a diamond in the rough. I went in there, right, what have I got? I knew Shinny and all the boys. I'd done my due diligence. And then I went to watch your kids training, and there was this wee diamond just taking the piss, Ryan Christie. And I says to the coach, I says, who's that? He says, that's Charlie's boy, Ryan Christie. I says, he's with the first team. What? With the first team. That was him, never looked back. As soon as he says, Russell, you're training with the first team, he just went for there. Whoom. That's what he needed. He was off, and he was nutmegging the boys, and he just seen the game. It was a wee bit like Latapy, and you just knew there's something special in this kid. There's a genius in there. And you just have to nurture him and bring him through, and you know, and you take a great pride for you play a wee part in his where he is now. You've just played same as Arfield. You know, I spoke to Arfield the other day there, keeping in touch with all the boys, and you played a wee part in their development and where they are. But Inverness was brilliant. Going back, I'll tell you a story. Going back to that semi-final when we beat Celtic, the family were up. They were at the game, they were up, and the twins were up. My next door neighbour, I stayed on a farm away at the way there was nobody. There was away. I stayed in the Black Isle, 20 miles outside Inverness. I used to cycle in and out. I was fit as a fiddle. I loved it. Straight opposite me was my neighbour. There was nobody to the left or right, straight opposite. And he was a gamekeeper. So one day I drove in, and he's hanging up, he's got the garage door, and there's deer dripping, hanging. So I'm looking at him going, oh, aye, never thought no more. So I went in the house, half an hour later, bang on the door, he says, here, this is meat off the deer. He says, it's off the deer, he says, it's venison. He says, the best meat you'll ever taste. I put it in the fridge, never thought. We played, anyway, Celtic, we played Celtic. The family were up, I come back. This is how your ego's like that. This is how you get brought down back to earth. I've got the head like that, walk into the house, the wife's like, whoa, brilliant, Scottish Cup final. She says, come on, we'll take the kids, we'll go for something to eat. I say, right, fine. Then I says, listen, that venison's in there. She says, right, she says, don't worry. She says, go on, you get a shower, do what you're going to do, I'll get that. So she's got the venison and all that. She's got all the roast potatoes, all the vegetable. The 2 girls are sitting, so we're sitting getting stuck in. Wee glass of red, getting stuck in and that. So one of the girls goes to eat the meat. She goes, She's that meat's absolute gorgeous. Mind, I'm like that. She says, that's absolutely gorgeous. She says, quick as a flash, the wife says, listen, that meat comes off an animal, and it's a name. Sometimes I call your dad with, we're eating arsehole. So for my heat being like that, I've no way to do that. No, my daughter thinks I'm an arsehole.
Brilliant. That's it, man. Your family will bring you down like that, won't they? That's it.
So that's the thing about family. You hang your like that and just go like that. And some of the players up at Inverness was and taking him into Europe as well. It was great. It was great. And even now, as I say, I sort of say to myself, I'll take a couple of years off. I'm now sort of really looking to get back in. I want to get back in. I think there's a change. I'm seeing a change in Scottish football for the supporters, seeing Celtic and Rangers and the style of football. I'm thinking that the supporters now want the game to be played properly. You need to pass the ball. Your goalkeeper's part of it. You know, you need to pass it out. You're an extra player. And I think the fans are really starting to say, oh, this is the way the game's played. That's the way I want to see the game's played. And if it's not played like that, I think the fans are now clever enough to say, whoa, aye, we won. But I want to dominate the ball. I want to really want to. And I think I can see a change in, and just a wee change in Scottish football and the outlook of supporters to say it's not all about winning. It's not all about winning. It's about doing it properly. And I want to be part of that because that's the style of football I like to play.
I'm sure you will, John. I'm sure you'll get in our club soon, mate. I'm sure you will.
Listen, see if there's no...
Could be a Rangers job if Jared doesn't win anything. First second is Ross Wilson. He's right out the door.
Right enough, aye. Ross, have you spoke to me, Ross, since you moved?
Aye, I speak. Keep in touch with you, Ross. He's done brilliant for himself, isn't he?
You just see big staunch Yogi standing on the touchline at Ibrox.
Yeah, imagine that, eh?
Aye, pair of brown brogues and a fucking cardigan.
Right, John, every week on Football Daft, right, we have a 90-second Football Daft quiz. You up for it?
Aye, on we go.
Right, so every week we do it, right? On the leaderboard at the moment, at the top of the leaderboard is Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley. They're joint on 14. The good doctor, Kenny Duker and Kevin Harper are just behind in second place with 13. Barry Ferguson and your former co-manager Owen Coyle are joint on 12. Other selected scores include Ian Murray on 7, Jim Leishman on 5, Big Mixu on 3. But at the bottom of the table, strongest man in football, holding them all up, is David McCracken on 1. Anybody you want to beat in that list there?
I want to go right at the top. Who's at the top?
You've got Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley. Both of them are on 14.
There we go. By the way, I've had a wee scout through these questions, John. Some of these are difficult this week. I can't. Oh, he's chucked you under the bus, Yogi. He's chucked you under the bus.
Great, let's go for the questions, big man.
Right, okay, Doc. Right, John, are you ready with the 90 seconds on the clock? Remember, you can't pass, Yogi. You have to get an answer.
Is pass not an answer?
No.
If you don't know, just say anything, right?
Right.
Right, we ready, John?
Yep, ready. Go.
And now, who will Celtic face in the next league of the Champions League?
Swedish team, Djurgårdens. Is it Djurgårdens?
What is the name of Edinburgh City's home ground?
Spartans.
Who are the current sponsors of the League Cup?
No
comment. At what team did you have your best win ratio as manager?
Hibs.
What English team are nicknamed the Lactics?
Wigan.
Which Rangers player moved to Aberdeen this week?
Young midfielder, his brother plays in goals for Livingston. Come back to that.
How many points are Hibs on at the moment?
10.
How many goals did you score for Celtic?
2.
In which Scottish ground would you find a famous hedgerow by the side of the ground?
Brecon.
What colour is Arbroath's home strip?
Maroon.
In what year were Falkirk formed?
1883.
In what year did you join Hartlepool as manager?
Time.
You can answer that though, John. He's already asked it. So
McCrory. Aberdeen. Ross McCrory.
That wasn't a year.
Right.
Who's a Latin?
Wigan. You're right.
Again, aye.
We'll go through the wrong answers, John. Celtic will face Fenerbahce in the next round of the Champions League. It was the other ones that won. Edinburgh City's Ainsley Park.
Ainsley Park. It's where Spartans play, isn't it?
Yeah. League Cup sponsored by Betfred. You had your best win ratio as a Livingston manager, apparently 44.4%.
Is that right?
By the way, that's unheard of. What a record that is.
Yeah.
Aye, it was a year.
Doesn't matter, he still won nearly half the games as Livy manager.
Hibs are on 10 points. You got Ross McCrory. I'll give you Ross McCrory. Falkirk formed in 1876 and you joined Hartlepool in 2012. So going to give you the Ross McCrory one. So I'll give you 6 points, John.
No bad.
6 points, mate. 6 points.
I wanted you to get 3. I like the way you say 3, Shree. You say it like my gran. Shree. Shree here. Shree. I love that.
That's because there's a wee speech impediment there, right?
Aye, well done, Grado.
But listen, an arsehole's always an arsehole.
Brilliant.
By the way, you went ahead of Jim Leishman.
You're ahead of Jim Leishman. You're ahead of Big
Fifers,
Mix.
well done, you beat the Fifers.
Who's top of the board?
Top of the board, Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed that.
John, thanks for taking time out to join us, mate. I've really appreciated the chat. It's been brilliant, mate.
No bother. Top boys. Take care, lads.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
John.
Yogi. Thank you.
Thanks, love.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Right, Who No Wins is back on Football Daft. It's the app that allows you to put your money where your mates are. If you don't know where it is, Who Knows Wins is the social sports game where mates, family and colleagues put their wits for real money and, of course, bragging rights. You can download the free app to play directly against your pals in your own custom league or join one of their existing competitions. They will send you live updates as the games go on, and you also get to wind up your mates in the group chat. Choose from football, rugby, horse racing and tennis, or combine any of the sports in your league. Make your predictions on the outcomes of your chosen fixtures. For every result you guess correctly, you get a point in your league. At the end of the competition, whoever's got the most points wins and proves they're the top dog. Whether it's the cost of a round or something more substantial, choose your own entry fee and split the winner's pot as you see fit. But when it comes to the bragging rights, the winner takes all. So congrats to all the winners from last week as the pot gets split 2 ways after a lot of away wins. So get involved. Where is the winners? Did I say who won? No.
No.
Right. So get involved with our very own SPFL Football Daft League now. A £5 entry and you can take us on with the winner take it all. Right, so get involved with your own very own SPFL Football Daft League now, and a £5 entry, and you can take us all. The winner takes all. So Saturday we've got Motherwell versus the Ackies with young troops.
Motherwell.
I'm going to say Motherwell.
It's got to be Motherwell, isn't it? Full house, Motherwell. Rangers versus Kerry.
Rangers,
another home win. St Mirren versus Ross County. Tough one.
It's a tough one. I'm going to go for draw.
I'm going to say St Mirren 1-0.
I'm going to say St Mirren as well. Dundee United versus Celtic.
I think Celtic will win.
Celtic.
Draw.
Ooh.
Oh. No like you going against your team there, John. I think Celtic will win. I think they'll be back in winning ways. Aberdeen versus Livy on the Sunday.
Aberdeen will take goals off them, I bet you.
Stick on. Absolute stick on.
Stick on.
Aberdeen, aye.
I would say Aberdeen. It's always the way a team plays well against Old Firm.
Watch this. Ross McCrory will get 3 assists.
Right, St Johnstone versus the Hibbies.
Hibs.
I'm going to go with a draw. Right, so get involved in our league right now by downloading the app on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Who Knows Wins? Put your money where your mates are.
So that's been a great show, guys.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. What about Big Yogi? Some boy.
We didn't even touch really. We touched on his Califissel Scottish Cup win, but it would be nice to get him on again to talk about everything else. All these how he managed Motherwell. The stuff with Rafe Rovers, as well.
The way he spoke reminded me of like the Owen Coyle interview.
You know what?
The way he spoke was brilliant.
See how he went on about how much he loves football. It makes you want him to be back and be as successful as possible. You know what I mean?
He's a character as well, isn't he? You need characters in the game.
That's what I mean. Like we've had Jim Leishman on the show, and we've had Yogi as well, and we've had Dick Campbell, and they're all cut for the same kind of cloth. You know what I mean? Like proper characters of Scottish football.
Correct. Right, Troops. Well, I'm going to boost and go and cook my dinner. Right?
What you having?
I'm going to the Range in Kilmarnock.
No idea yet, mate. No idea. You going where?
The Range, is it no the Range you call it? The Range.
I thought you meant the driving range. I've got to play golf.
Right, Grado, see for next week, I want you to have that guitar for the show, because your first live performance.
Mate, you can do the outro on your guitar.
Look at this. Right before I play the guitar, right? We need to find out.
What do we need to find out?
How do you go on in Big Brother?
Listen, there's somebody at my door actually, I need to go. Right.
Next week.
Right, okay.
Sign up /football daft. Get Rangers daft and Celtic daft up there. You can buy t-shirts, shop.spreadshirt.co.uk /football daft, and get us on Twitter at football daft podcast on Instagram, and football daft on Facebook.
By the way, I'm not even joking. There was somebody at my door, I need to go.
Right, see you later.
Lads.
Audio Frontier.